fucking typical, I don't know what to do. I'm on the scotch if I'm feeling kind of woo. Think you're scary, but I don't know what to do. Goo, hey!
Yo,
oh yeah!
Welcome
look
back
at that! Shaft that shit.
You know what?
You know what? If you add up those numbers, if you drop the O, add the numbers together, it adds up 9-0, and then the roulette wheel was 1-2. All I need is the 5 for 90125.
You know what's funny is, you know,
Wait, we need to get you a whiteboard, Kev. I couldn't follow that shit at all. Welcome back to the line, everybody. We're here with almost the full crew because we got a lot of shit to cover. I was gonna say we're gonna go late, but then I realized the PHiSH is playing tonight, so we really can't go late with this show. So hopefully we'll get to everything right up front. Kev, I think we need to get you a whiteboard because I think I followed what you're saying, what you're throwing down, but the truth is I have no idea what the fuck you're talking about.
Well, that graphic they tweeted earlier had the numbers on it, right? If you add those numbers together, 4, 6, 8, they equal 18. You add 1 and 8 together, it's 9. Then you have
that's
9-0.
Crazy Wook conspiracy theory shit, man.
Then you have 9-0, and the roulette wheel was on 12. So 9-0-1-2. All you need is the 5, and you have the Yes album that I've always wanted.
You're reaching there. You're reaching there.
It was so much easier in '96 when they played the Aladdin show, and Trey just told everybody what to go out and put their money on instead of like making us do all this math last night in the show to figure shit out.
17. All your money on 17.
That was, and I'm going to say that's still, regardless of all the Halloween shows and all the Vegas shows I've seen, that's still my absolute favorite Vegas PHiSH.
Right?
I love all the answers, the variations of answers of Wook's doing addition. Like in the beginning, I mean, eventually everybody figured it out and they got on the same number with the 4680. But like in the beginning, there was
Jason was on it. Jason was on it. And he was
right, but he did the whole NO2 as a square instead of a subscript.
Right, and that's the only way to make it work without the
grind 2. Yeah, grind 2. Grind
2, whatever.
Yeah, grind.
That's why I asked why was it grind 2? Like that was just them throwing that in there to make the numbers work.
No, let's this is again, this is ridiculous.
Is this a little chaotic, fam? Do you want
to rein us in? I just want us to use the proper. This has been a green room problem. It's now spilling over to.
All right, give it to us. Give it to us.
We need to use proper vernacular here. The name of the song now is Grind 2.0, not Grind 2. So let's be very careful there. I think
is that a troll?
It's on purpose.
I know.
Well, no, actually on .net, it's just listed as grind regular with a superscript 2, which is a footnote for changed lyrics. But on one of the PHiSH accounts, it was grind Roman numeral 2, which would be grind 2. But then on the official PHiSH from the road, it was grind 2.0.
So what is it?
This is what it is, y'all. It is
but
absolutely.
If you go 2.0, if you go 2.0, then you need a -7 for 7 below, and then you're 14 down.
Oh, that's why everybody was fucking up.
So it doesn't quite. Yeah.
Let's assume it's 4680. Right. Let's assume since they gave us the answer. That's what that graphic was about. They were like, oh, shit, there's a lot of ambiguity. We have really nerdy fucking fans. We got to give them the answer.
And they cause more problems.
Well, the ultimate nerdiness is the official fan website literally going, yeah, you called it this song, this name, but we're gonna name it what we think it should be named. We're not gonna put it on.
That was probably Scott just like whapping down or Charlie or somebody. But so my favorite coincidence of 4680 was that it's 13 times 360. And 360 being the numerical way to represent a ring, right? Because it's 360 degrees around. you get 13 of them. I know that has nothing to do with it. It's just a coincidence, but 13 donuts being reasonably 2 iterations away from the gag last night. That's pretty dope.
Boy, dude, that is fucking.
I should have brought my tinfoil hat tonight. I didn't realize that's what we're going to talk about.
That is way mathematic there, though. Matt from Math should have been on for that shit.
Yeah.
Right? Oh, dude. That's what I spent half of my morning doing was all these derivations and numerical exercises.
You posted that thing with all the ones you ran for it. That was cool.
Yeah, it was dumb as shit, but thank you.
Can we have a whiteboard? Can we figure this out on the whiteboard?
No, what we should do, I think, if you guys don't mind, is maybe run through the show a little bit because there's actually some interesting topics in the set list itself as far as jams and PHiSH performances go.
Yeah, the intro. It sounded very dirty, but you could hear 2001 coming through it. It was just like a nice, dark warm-up. Kind of let's warm the instruments up, get the strings.
I like PHiSH's version of Dead Start because like that's the one thing I always kind of wanted was that like just fucking around and noodling. And then noodle in the gym.
Tuning. Yeah. That's called tuning. They were
but
supposedly tuning.
The only thing older than music.
PHiSH wasn't gonna do it fully, but this version of it I thought was a very dope way to start.
Yeah, it's a quasi Down with Disease. In some ways you saw people kind of right off the bat kind of calling Down with Disease because it sounded kind of deconstructed that beginning, but then
it was too dirty. It was too nasty and ugly.
Like you said, it eventually came out pretty clearly to be 2001. And yeah, it was an absolute smoker, a really good version.
Great pocket, man. Fucking PHiSH is the MVP of that song. I know everybody thinks about Trey and ripping and hitting the chords.
He's the MVP of the year for everything.
Yeah, but no, you're right. This is not
I wonder if he has like some encouragement from the audience. Fucking sending him to the next level.
I still give the MVP to the light guy. Like Fishman's great, but the light guy.
Oh yeah, that light guy.
So sorry.
No, but the pocket in 2001 was spot on. He nailed it. He rocked it. The jury's out on the samples. Yeah. So the first benefit of the gag or the gimmick and one of the MVPs of the gimmick came next with 1999.
You know it then? Because I didn't know it till 555. It didn't dawn.
Oh, really?
555.
I thought it was instantly revealed when they did 2 years back to back and they were that close. The second you hear the organ, you don't even need to know what note or chord it is. The second you hear the Prince organ, I was like, it's a fucking number set. This is amazing.
Yeah, it took me to 555. I was just like, they're trying to fucking jerk everybody off doing.
Some people operate on your level and some people operate on my level. It's fine.
Well, I thought we were doing years because it was 2001. Then
but then what would you have done after that?
How are we gonna? Well, that's what I was wondering. How are we gonna do that? And then when it got to 555, you're like, okay, it's just a number set.
That's a long time ago.
Yeah. Well,
T 555 was also a year. Just saying.
Well, yeah, I know, but like you're not going to be
all
like
years. Really, I mean, they were really all years. There was an O. No, there was no O. There was a 1 and a -1. So
and a 7 below. 0. So you talking 7 BC?
That's right.
7 BC. I love 7 BC.
Wait, let's not go too nuts right now. Let's go through this. What do you guys think about 1999?
It was sexy.
Fun. Yeah. I like
it. Was sexy.
The vocals are so funny. I think like it just slays me how like earnest, and just trying so hard.
Mike nails it. Mike nails his line,
and it's so perfect. Like because, and that's what I love about their covers. Sometimes, like I don't think Prince. I mean, honestly, Prince would to me, and again, this is just saying this, but I think Prince would be rolling over in his grave, hearing that version. Right, but I think PHiSH knows.
Well, of course.
No, I know, and it's not. And I'm not saying that in a bad way.
I don't think he would. I think he'd be like, "Wow, they took my blueprint and fucking made it their own. Good for them."
No, not Prince. Man.
Like Skinhead and Connor with their fucking nothing.
Or he would need to be restrained from the audience, as he would be literally trying to run up there and steal their instruments. And
you think so? Is that what his rep is?
I think he would have. I think he would have been impressed with the purple lights. I think he would have liked the light seat.
He would have.
He gave 5 to
loved,
the rescue.
dude. Prince would have fucking loved CK5.
Exactly.
That's accurate.
So,
I believe
What?
that.
Hire you, man? What are they paying you? I'll pay you double.
But it's a
There's
great
a-
fish version. Great fish version. This is
And
like,
it's fun. It's fun. You have it with, and he nails that synth sound. And honestly, too, that's kind of like the sub story of this show because everybody's talking about the numbers, but the covers and the legends that they hit. We got a Prince cover, we got a Bowie cover, we got a Hendrix cover, we got a Brothers Johnson cover. I mean, like they hit some.
Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert!
All right. I mean, everybody's seen the show, man.
Because
There's
the fun thing-
it
the
seems
fun
like
thing
you're
about
skipping over a
1999
5.
no. We're gonna go back. I'm just saying that
That 555 finally fucked.
hold on.
eh,
Yes,
That-
no,
that-
it did. I agree. I think it finally did. I think you can call that definitely fucked. And I think that's what's nice about both of
fornicate
you.
at best. It fornicated okay.
I think the 1999 was
It was
fun because,
missionary
saying,
position.
like I was saying before, night one is always the fun show, and it's kind of the party show and the get down show, and that fit perfectly. Like that really said, like 2001 got you kind of grooving into that, but 1999 let you know that tonight was going to be fun and a party show, and like let's get it going, and it was
I
awesome.
just
Like
like-
it,
Yeah, I liked it.
And
It
that
wasn't just
attitude.
throw-ins. It
Did
wasn't
you
just
like
like
the
they were.
555 T? Are you?
I always
down
like
with that?
555. You know, like I was stoked when I got it on tour this year. Like it's one of my, I
Really?
don't know, I always like that song. It's not. I will say now, I think Mole is my new favorite Mike song over 555.
Tacos.
But seeing that, and I mean, I got to tell you one quick story about in Santa Barbara when Trey told Mike that they were gonna play Mole. I have never seen Mike so excited. Like he first was kind of looking at him, and then he was like, "Oh, that's my song. All right, let's play that." Like it was like totally like Trey letting him like, "Hey, we're gonna play your song now." He's like, "What? Really? All right, let's do it." Like, and then they ripped it. So
Thanks, Dad.
exactly. But I was a huge fan of that 555 last night. I thought it got there.
And we can have this conversation because I know
Right
what
now,
you're
we're
doing.
live on international
we're having
TV.
it.
Let's do
Oh,
it.
fair enough. Because I know you wanted to talk a little bit about like, is it a good show because of the gimmick? Is it or that concept? So I want to hold on to that a little bit but I do want to say that like to me these first 3 songs weren't just throw-ins. They weren't just part of like you go okay, well you're just doing these songs because they actually jammed and had some like direction. So that's why I kind of fall on one side of that argument because I would say that like.
Since you're bringing it up, and we're a little bit chaotic here at Wook Plus,
You're kidding.
I'll say that this was a show, a tale of 2 sets. And the first set, I agree. The first set, the gag or the gimmick contributed greatly to the set. The fact that we got 2001 to open into 1999 and got, well, I guess we should finish talking through the set, but
So you
I mean,
that
that
good
for-
with 4,000 and not 4860 or whatever.
well, I mean, I don't know about the math of it all, but I think the first set was solid. When we get to the second set, I'll tell you what I think about that. But
Yeah, maybe I jumped the gun.
spoiler alert, it wasn't as good as the first
So
set.
what
in my
happened
opinion.
after 555? What was the next?
So they go
number?
into 46 days, which was
Which
another.
day-
Back to back.
Fam wanted to fucking dive into that because 46 days has become a multicolored butterfly.
Ooh, a lovely butterfly. That's right. I agree. And this one, so like T said, it's back to back. So I've always been like a big like Pepsi challenge, listen to 2 like versions of the same song back to back, and kind of compare them. And like I did that a bunch today. I probably listened to like both of them a couple times at least a piece.
I love when fam has a day off, man. Your commitment to your trade is unmatched, unrivaled.
But I was just going big time listening to that, and you're so right. Like, and so I started to listen to all the 4.0 46 days, and they just are really an interesting kind of journey that it takes. And this one is phenomenal. I think one of the things that keeps coming back, and it started to get mentioned a little bit on Twitter earlier today, was that 12/30/19 tweezer theme. That keeps coming back, right? It's that very,
It'll be a song before you know it.
I know. It's just like he loves that, and it's so.
I
beautiful.
love that.
Oh
I love
my
it
God.
too.
I do love homework, Jen.
And
no
Famer
doubt
loves
about it.
homework. That's
He loves
100%
giving
true.
it. He loves giving homework.
I'll
too.
say giving it. I was gonna say giving and taking, but I want to be careful.
Easy,
Don't
easy.
go there. Yeah, don't go there.
How that can be taken.
No, this was a good version though. This was a very solid
and you got
version.
You got it back-to-back shows because they played it in Santa Barbara
Weird.
the other
But
night.
Santa Barbara was dirty. Santa Barbara was fucking dark.
Kev, everything is dirty to you right now. I feel like you're gonna make this episode NC-17. This is
all right. The one last night was very blissful. It was happy. It didn't go to that place that the one did the night before.
But that brings up a good point that I brought up in our thread, in that a lot of the songs that they played twice this tour, it was like the first time they played it was sort of like a run through, like an audit, like a practice run, and then they busted it out later in tour and really got there, like Sense and Subtle Sounds, like the Hood that they did in Sacramento, but then the Hood in Phoenix was way better. The only song that was kind of different than that was the Carini. Carini was kick ass in San Francisco, and then the one in LA was a little bit shorter and not as didn't quite
get
there.
Carini somewhere though. It does what it's supposed to.
Yeah, no, it got. I mean, and it was perfectly placed in that rock set. Like you needed a Carini in there, or like an Axl or something to keep that rock show going. But it didn't need to be long because that show wasn't about like really jamming it out, other than that Yem in the first set. But I think to that point, like 46 Days was one of those too. Like they played it the other night and kind of took it in one direction, and they were like, well, tonight we're gonna play it again, but do it this way and have it like this other.
Which is great that they're keeping the variations in the.
I've seen it before. Back in '97, they did Timber 2 nights in a row, and one was a real joyful jam. The next night was a dark, and thank you, Tom, a filthy jam. It was greasy and nasty, and and maybe sometimes
jam. It's a bad jam,
right? Maybe sometimes Trey's like, all right, he's like thinking about it. Maybe it's in his head. Hey, last night I did this like this, but tonight I'm going to do it like this.
And I love that Chad has posted this because we're going to talk about this in a little bit.
Let's talk about it right now. You want to talk about it now?
Because people hate me when I say it
first. Let's get through the set. Let's get through the show first.
Thank you, T. All right. So then after 46 days, we have the Brothers Johnson Strawberry Letter 23.
No, Sugar Otis.
Okay.
Yeah.
You know why I say that? Because the guy who wrote it's dad wrote the hand jive, and it's one of those coolest shit things in music.
That's true. But anyway, that was fun. I mean,
I love that song. It is so sexy. Camden, remember Camden, Tim? They did it back in 2019.
I've seen it every time they've played it, which is a weird stat to have.
Trey pushes.
No, I didn't see this one. This was the first one I've.
Trey pushes his vocal, though. It's one of those songs like Fam has alluded to. Trey's pushing his vocals. He takes on a soul like he does with the Lonely Trip. It's a late 70s, a late 60s, early 70s kind of soul vibe to what he's trying to get to. And I think it's really, yes, feel yourself, Trey. I think it's really one of those fucking things that is propelled 4.0 to another level.
Let Trey feel himself.
Yes, he wants to feel himself. You go home, you drink a couple drinks, you go home, you take advantage of yourself.
All right. So
20 years later.
20 years later, I love that at the end of the first set. It's a great way to end the first set. And I love how this set, even though it was driven by the numbers and the order, works out as a great first set. 2001 is the perfect way to start a set. 20 years later is the perfect way to end the set. 5:55, if you're going to throw it in a set, might as well be in the middle of the set.
And it should
it's sort of fornicated, like you said.
Yeah, and it fornicated, which is good for him. Good for him.
It was like a dry hump.
It was. What do they call that?
A dry hump.
No. What do the Mormons do where like their roommate shakes the bed?
The jump humps, like jumping.
Yeah. It's like soaking or something.
Soaking. Oh,
that shit's fucked up.
With fucking that playing in the background. That's what we need.
That's what we should rename this episode. Is like NC-17.
I know a lot of Mormons, and that is the most ridiculous thing.
You know a lot of Mormons?
They are not soaking. I promise you.
That is a crazy statement from you that you know a lot of Mormons.
I do. Where I live is Independence, Missouri. It's a very
all right. So we got into the second set here, and then this is
Vegas.
They planned it. Did they not plan it though?
They absolutely planned this, and the way you know they planned this,
it's because of what they played.
was because they worked out the intricacies of adding up to a number, and to the point where they had to put grind 2 in.
What does that number mean?
I think it's 13 donuts, but no. So actually, do you know what the number one album was that month in April of 1980?
Yes, 90125.
No, not the number one album. The number one single was "Brick in the Wall."
Oh, The Wall.
Yeah, which would be not a great guess, but
need like an organ. When you say something like that, we need an organ track. Dun, dun, dun.
I was actually looking for something to put on the board.
But the conversation, I think, is a little different too, though, about obviously, okay, in this set, they had to plan it out. Now, the question is, and this is something that me and Travis have had a disagreement on, is like how long ago they planned it, okay? And do they plan, and this is something Kev and us have had conversations about, is like, do they plan their sets typically or their tours, kind of out in, on purpose? Or
I know the answers. Do you want me to tell you before or after you guys give your takes?
I feel like I know the answers too. That's what I'm saying. All you have to do
I actually know the answers, though.
But let's hear it then.
Question.
All right. Outside of the gimmick and like last night, like outside of that, just normal run-of-the-mill set, Deer Creek Night 3, for example, right? Just like it's a show in the summer tour. Trey and the band comes up with a list of songs that they have in the docket. They all learn it, they memorize it, and then he forgets it, and then pulls from that list. So it's half planned, half organic.
But I think in Trey's head, can I go here? I think in Trey's head, he knows what's in the pool of songs subconsciously, and he knows how much time he has and what he wants to do because
but I feel like that's on the spot though. Like they'll be like, oh, we only have 10 minutes left,
but that's
like let's go to character part. 0, but we have 25 minutes left going to hood.
I think walking into that, he knows what he's going to do before that happens. If I end up with 12 minutes
in the night of though, but not before the show starts.
Well, I think it depends on. I think definitely
the show starts.
No, but I think it definitely depends on certain shows. Like Santa Barbara, they had that shit down to a T because it was a 10 o'clock cutoff. So he knew where they had to cut off. And then when they cut off, it was like, well, what can we, what can we squeeze? Should we just do a 2-minute fuck your face to squeeze that in there? Sure, let's do that. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like they know to the minute when they're going to get done in a place like that.
And that's planned, right? That's Trey saying it.
But he doesn't write down the set list, and other bands do. So when you say planned, like Dead and Co.
planned in his head.
But that's different though. He has an idea of what he's going to do, but he's open to organic growth. Like Dead and Co. or Mo write down a set list.
Right. We're looking at the same thing from different ways.
But on that same note, when there are songs in the set list that they know they're going to play, like last night with 5 years, both PHiSH and PHiSH had the lyrics next to them and on the drums because they don't know this. So like they knew they were going to play it and had the lyrics ready to be able to read the lyrics because it's not memorized. Right,
but that was a specialty thing.
Right.
And I feel like that happens where somebody in the bus will be like, hey, we haven't done Mock Song. And Mike's like, I don't know the fucking words to Mock Song. And Trey's like, I really want to play Mock Song. And then, Mike's like, fine, I'm going to print out the lyrics. Like that happens, but it's limited.
Can I ask you guys something?
But hang on,
stop yelling. Hold on. We should stop yelling.
In a show like last night, I think it's planned to Fam's question that he asked. I think a show like last night, I think this whole run is planned. I think they know exactly what they're doing leading into Halloween because Halloween is so planned. So I think the first night, they've had how long to sit around and want to do another Halloween show since Casbot. So they've been planning this. And I'm sure it was like night one, let's blow their minds with like a time theme or whatever. It'll be fun. We've got these songs. We can do it. Now, were there other songs in that time theme that they could have played and they just decided to play these?
Were there other number of songs that they like on their catalog they didn't have?
515 from Quadrophenia.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of people were requesting a lot of things that were a little out of the ordinary or whatever, so you don't know. I mean, I think this was all planned, and I think tonight's
problems. They could have had a rapper come out.
They could have. Oh, speaking of cameos, I think Lady Gaga's in town, according to T's girlfriend. So I hear she may want to stop out tonight. But no, before I do want to get off of this in a minute, but before we do that, I want to hear what Fam, because he was the one that brought this up. I really want to hear what his take is on the planning versus not planning.
Okay, so I'm pretty much in this same boat as you guys, so it's not really that far off.
Well, that's not great content.
I know.
All right, let's do it anyway.
I would say I think it's way more organic. I don't think there was a lot of planning for this show in particular. I think there's a decent chance that there's no gimmick tonight, like I think that there's an absolute chance that this dawned on Trey 2 hours before the show, and they were like, "Hey, how do we?"
I don't believe you.
Then he had to.
That is way far off from what I was saying.
Actually. Okay, and then he had to plan it out pretty quickly there. And the reason I would say, number one, the grind 2.0 was not practiced in any way because they had the lyrics and everything written out right there
and
in front of them.
And they sucked at it.
And it was hard for them to kind of get out,
That is kind of like PHiSH, though. I mean,
let me ask you guys. Can I ask you guys?
Wait, no, hold on, Kev. Hold it. Write it down. We don't want to lose that, but not yet.
All right.
But no, I think it's way more. I think to me, when I hear Trey talk about it, and I think going back to what you said, Tim, it's more about like what he feels in the moment, and that whatever conversations they might have had beforehand, fair enough. It is about what Trey feels at that moment. And so often to me, this tour, so often I hear him trying to figure out what he's going to play next. To me, like I literally hear him.
You can see it too. When you watch the webcast, you can see him like thinking it through and running it by the guys.
Exactly.
And to that point, fam, you get their reactions, like Mike being excited that he wanted to do Mole. When he suggested another song at the Bowl, Fishman gave him a look like, "Oh, we're gonna play that? Okay, okay." I guess, so it's like, and those are weird interactions. So yes, there is definitely that element, but I guarantee you, like he practiced 6 was 9, if 6 was 9 before, like just
yeah. They planned last night. I agree with Sam.
Can I ask you guys?
Hold on, let me. All right, fine, go ahead.
All right, before we come on,
I would hate to tell you no.
During the day, when you know you're going to be live on this show, do you run through your head how the show is going to go?
Yeah. No.
Okay. So
I don't know. I have. Not every night, but yeah, I have.
Okay. So do you not think Trey does that?
Yeah, but I think he also, like us, to follow your metaphor, I have ideas of things in my pocket, like, oh, if shit stalls out or is going slow, I'm going to throw in this topic. But I let us jam it out, right? Like, I don't know where the fuck the conversation is going to go and what order it goes. So I think that's exactly how Trey does it, is he has backup plans in his pocket.
That's planning.
It's pseudo planning, but it's not like I'm writing out a fucking set list, because the people that are like, oh, it's 5:54, I got to do that, like.
Yeah, but to that point, this isn't like a bunch of Wooks just throwing on an international stream.
No?
Yeah, it is.
No.
It is, though. They are a bunch of Wooks fucking doing a huge concert.
They planned last night. There's no way they didn't plan last night. They had the fucking graphic. They planned last night, but in general, they don't.
There's a whole crew of people that has to know what they're doing, from inside the studio to CK5 to the guy mixing it. Everyone needs to know what sort of the baseline is. I mean, it's a production. They're professionals. Like, you're not just going out there and winging it. I know we all would love to believe that they're just these artists.
They are. No,
so wait,
it's a business, and like it's not quite as produced as like a Stone show, which is like completely like choreographed.
Oh, you think
money? It's still big money.
I'm gonna say it's still a business, and it's a production. So, like, it's not just going out there winging it.
You encapsulated that argument well, and I don't even want to disagree with you. So I'm going to bring it to the next theory I have and throw this out there. I had this thought today, and it might not have been an original thought. So if you had this thought, I'm sorry. I may or may not have read it. I don't know.
There are no original thoughts.
There isn't. And I just wanted to say that. I'm sorry if I'm ripping up. I don't think I am, but I don't know. But what if these are all red herrings, right? Like, what if this was a really fun way, and tonight they do something else that's completely the fuck out there, and then on Saturday they do
animals,
and it's all because Sunday they end up doing because we were talking about, can they still do a rock cover? Can they still just go out and do the predictable Dark Side or Genesis or whatever without any gimmick? And maybe the way they pull it off is by throwing out red herrings and misleading the fan base.
I think
to give us the fodder for these shows.
They're off the board. They played Hendrix. He's off the board. They're not going to do fucking Electric
Well, but since they're
Ladyland.
bouncing around doing so many covers, maybe Halloween night, instead of doing one set of PHiSH, one set of a cover, and one set of PHiSH, it's 3 sets of different covers. Like it's one album, one set, one album, another. It's just 3 albums, and we just get our money.
That would be the coolest thing ever, T. That would be the fucking coolest thing ever.
I don't know. I feel like covering Genesis would be cooler, but
no, fucking just fucking
the Police.
They do like 2 shots
or the Police,
you know?
or Yes would be dope as hell.
Be great.
Yeah, 90215.
Oh, really? Is that the album you're calling for? I'd never heard you say that before. All right, so the second set, I want to start off this second set conversation, and then maybe the rest of the set I'll sit back a little bit. But I fucking love 7 Below. It is a song that I've desperately wanted them to take for a ride in more recent times. They did a lot in 2.0.
They didn't do it at Dick's. They did it at Dick's, but they didn't.
No, I'm not even talking about like recent tours. I'm talking about like large groups of years. Like this is a song they don't jam out that often anymore.
New Year's 18, they kind of gave us a decent one. Got a little bit. I mean, it was a little bit longer one, but yeah,
they did. And I'm gonna give credit to Tom Marshall because this was on one of his podcasts. It might have been Under the Scales, but he had this theory that I love. It's one of my favorite PHiSH theories about how, because 2.0 ended the way it did and the short timing of it, that a lot of the songs in that era never got to be fully stretched out and explored, right? Like they never refined them the way even now you see it's something like Everything's Right or Ruby Waves, right? That they've played several times and it's grown legs. 7 Below, I feel like as an orchestration and as a composition has the ability to go on these crazy jams, but they haven't fully stretched it out. And I feel like last night they did. Like it was a great way to.
It's a winter song, though. It's a winter song. It's weird. It's weird to hear anytime.
You're not high on that, am I?
No,
okay,
no,
so at least I'm not alone. I mean, Steve's with me.
Give me time to obsess about it.
Okay, go.
I'd never seen it. My first one was at Dick's, and it was weird to see at Dick's because I was standing there in shorts and a t-shirt, and it's talking about 7 Below, and it presents a certain thing.
You're right, fam.
And if I walk out Pittsburgh in 2019,
that was a long time ago, though.
You know, if I walk out and they do it and there's snow on the ground, it has a different impact on me looking back.
No, that's okay.
I mean, I get the seasonal piece of it, and it definitely had like one of the what was one of the New Year's there was snow during a 7 Below, right? Like wasn't that one of the gags, or at some point, like. So I mean I definitely get that, and I agree with what everyone's saying in the chat and what you're saying, Tim, as far as like in 2.0 there were so many great versions. The It version, like Steve said, is great. The 22003 to me is like the version, which personally.
What else did they play on 22003 that was good?
Oh, so many good songs, Kev. We
and maybe it's
a whole show about that. But seriously, this one to me though, I do kind of slide this into like it's got to be in that top 5 conversation. And
really,
other than
for 7 Below, I
agreed. Yeah, I think because it's like it finally gets there. And then on like and maybe that's some of it is that it finally kind of go. I think Baker's has a good one. So there's moments where they've kind of stretched it out some, but still, this version is absolutely at least in the top 7.
Was it more popular in 2.0 than now?
Well, it was.
Did you get more 2.0 versions than 3.0?
Oh, better versions for sure.
Right.
I don't know about the quantity, but the level of jamming and the quality of the jams were superior in 2.0.
I'm not that familiar with the song. I've never.
Well, and I think that's maybe part of it. We obviously know that Famer is a huge 2.0 stan, which is great. And even though I am not technically a 2.0 fan, that is around the time where I really started to dig in, right? And the first songs, those were my first new songs, right? Really? Like the first songs I heard were like old school. That was on Round Room.
It was on. So that was 2003 or 4. Was that the first or second? That was the.
That's the first. Undermine was after, or 2002 maybe.
It came out right before they came back in Hampton. I think it was like synced to that.
Well, no, way before
because they planned shit.
That was way before Hampton, though.
Maybe.
Yeah, but that was why kind of 2.0. And this is something that I was thinking about the other day that like is great about PHiSH is that a lot of bands, and they still do this a little bit. They like to play their new songs, which makes sense. But a lot of bands literally just abandon a lot of old songs, right? Because they just play their new record or a majority of it, right?
And they only have 12 songs they can play in the main set,
no, but
and then
that's
a 5-song encore.
But that's round room for PHiSH, which I hate because there's so many gems there. I mean, they stuck with Pebbles and Marbles, thank God.
But you like round room, don't you? You like the title track.
Well, yeah, I do.
It is great. Hell yeah, it's so underrated.
And it's like what 4 or 5 times they've done it. They haven't done that much at all, have they?
Very, very little.
And it sucks because like all the times they go back to like I don't know. I don't want to put down anything from like Envoy or Junta or whatever because they're all incredible.
Right.
But there's so many times I go back to these standard songs that I'm like a Bouncing, for example. It's like,
but the 2.0 songs are 46 Days and Walls of the Cave. They're their two.
Well, and Walls of the Cave only recently I feel like really found its legs. Yeah, exactly. 46 Days has been a burner since it came out. I mean,
and we talked
about Kill
that,
Devil Falls too. Was that? Oh, that was Joy. Actually,
it's the last great inside joke tune because the dude died, right?
Are you waiting for me to bring you on?
Song, he died in real life. Whoever it was, right?
I don't know.
Lee
Fordham.
Yeah,
Lee Fordham. It's their last inside joke song, really. They don't get many inside joke songs anymore.
Wombat is the most.
But what's the joke? We don't know that. Nobody worked. It's like a Karini.
Is 100% right. By the way, Waves has grown legs in 3 and 4. Well, 3.0.
They don't do it much though. What
they don't, and they should.
15 shows or something.
I think the Baker's Waves was dope, if I remember correctly.
I've always said there's never been a bad Waves.
Soundcheck Waves is the best Waves, though. I forget what year that was.
LP? Anybody buy the LP? I think Llama did.
Yeah, the Beth.
I don't buy LPs, man.
I don't buy, right.
I'm not a hipster. I just play one on international TV.
Tim traded in his drums for a fucking couch. What happened to the guy?
I played a gig, actually. Believe it or not, I had to pack them up, and then I haven't reloaded them out again.
Is it on archive.org? Where can we listen?
No, I don't even want to talk about it. It was fine. It was good. I did good. I met a dope ass bass player.
You did do good. I fucking heard you play drums.
I want to play again, but I was thinking about stacking them up back there like a Christmas tree and put Christmas lights on it for the winter season. We're gonna decorate on Monday, by the way. This year I'm like, fuck Thanksgiving. Second Halloween's over. We're in Christmas season.
Thanksgiving's almost as bad as Columbus Day, and in 5 years it'll be canceled. And Fam's with me. Fam is going to fight the good fight with me.
No, I don't think it's going to be canceled. I think it's going to be reinvented. We should get away from the quote unquote historical Pilgrims and Indians, but I think any opportunity that we
have a chance to fight with your whole family at a table together is fucking great.
When you have the opportunity to be grateful for something and get away from your selfish fucking takes and opinions and realize that this isn't about your opinions, this is about camaraderie and community, and you should just be grateful for the blessings that we have because there's so many fucking people out there that don't share the same privilege we do. Then yeah, I think if you can accept and be thankful for your privilege, then it's a good holiday. But if you're all hung up on Pilgrims and Indians, then go fuck yourself.
Can I get an amen?
Amen. All right, let's bring this back into this show.
If 6 were 9 is fucking, if 6 was 9 is one of my greatest calls ever for PHiSH, and I want to hear what you guys think before I tell you what I think, because
I want T and then Fam and then myself. Can we go that order?
Yeah,
I feel like that's a good order.
I don't know. I don't want to piss a lot of people off.
Oh, fuck them. Let's do it.
I plan on pissing people
Hendrix. That's one of my favorite Hendrix songs.
I spoke and my wife was all like into it. I gotta find the right one. All right, sorry, go ahead.
I don't know. I was excited they played it. If I was in the arena last night, I would have been stoked to hear it. I would have been like, yes, I got it. That being said, it's that song is really raw and rough, and it's about fuck the establishment, and it's like it wasn't played like that. It was like listening to a really good cover band play it, and It was fun, but to me, I don't know. I wanted it dirty. I wanted it nasty. Page's keyboards kind of, I don't know. It sounded dad rock to me. It was like hearing a dad rock version like of that song. And the jam didn't quite get there where I wanted it to go. I don't know. Attendance bias aside, like I would have been stoked to hear it. I'm glad they played it. I think it was cool, but it felt like a Dead and Co. So it was slow. It wasn't like it didn't get me. So, but that's great. That was just my opinion. That's just where I'm at with it.
Fam, what say you?
No, for me, Jimmy is one that I think that like covers like Fire, I think are very maybe appropriate, and like that's a song that everyone covers. I just think you want to be careful with Jimmy covers, you know what I mean? Like, and yeah, this one felt, and it goes back to that conversation we've had about like with Golden Age, like it's just not, it's a very PHiSH version. Like this is the PHiSH version of If Six.
Right, at a PHiSH concert, though. I mean, I think we can forgive him for that.
I know, and that's where it's really interesting. Is like, what's a cover, right? Is this even really a cover? Like maybe 3 minutes of this is a cover, and then after that, it's like not this.
Yeah.
Right,
well, and that's where my criticism is. I think the fishy, and I agree with both of you. I think the fishy cover of Hendrix was fishy, but it was acceptable, right? It was the same thing as like their covers of the Beatles or their covers of Zeppelin. It's not Zeppelin. When they play No Quarter, it's not Zeppelin, but or Good Times, Bad Times, right? It's not, but it's good for what it is. And I thought the first third of it was good for what it was. I thought the jam was shit, though. Honestly, I think PHiSH, when they were just being PHiSH, it fell apart. They were trying to, and it's fine. I forgive them. Not that they need my forgiveness, but I get it. Like if you're going to take risks, you're going to fall on your face sometimes. And I don't hold it against them at all. But I feel like this was an example where they were trying some shit and it fell apart. And like not in a cool, dirty, filthy bird way or whatever Kev says. Right. Like it was just bad.
Right? Because it doesn't get out, like Bold as Love works because they play it a lot. And they obviously practice it.
That's the cover they should do is Bold as Love.
And it works because you practice it. They obviously haven't played this one, so I'm sure if they got into it and did it, it would get there. But last night it wasn't there, and I don't know if I'd ever want to hear it again to get there. Like I'm good with like a one-off, leave it on the shelf. It's too good of a song to like.
My thing is to me. My thing is with that tune is it belongs to be a 3-piece. It doesn't need, or maybe a second guitar, a 4-piece,
yep, totally.
But no keyboard, and it needs to be 10 minutes of feedback and droning after, fucking play on drummer, and then it drifts off for a few seconds and goes into a long dissonant jam for 10 minutes, and you fucking nailed it to the wall. No Quarter, they've taken that place. Good Times, Bad Times is an album version, and Fam will.
But a great one though, and they nail it.
I love Good Times, Bad Times. Fam saw ugly shit he should never have seen when they played that at Dick's.
It's also,
God, I saw it too, motherfucker.
It's also seeing Trey wearing a $300-$400 shirt, screaming like white collar conservative, flashing down the street. You're like,
that's energizing,
like.
Holy shit.
Anti-war song.
So, Kev dancing to Good Times, Bad Times was one of the most uncomfortable moments of my life.
Ooh.
And it's funny as fuck.
I am Robert Plant when PHiSH plays.
Up until that point at Dick's, you didn't fucking move a muscle. And we're not going to discuss the reasons why on international television. But we know the reasons why. You were a fucking statue. And then Good Times, Bad Times comes on. And you're just like, woo!
I'm just gonna say this with the Jet. This might be one of the worst takes ever. Do you ever see Trey walking around without his guitar on? All that guy does is practice. Like all he does is noodle on that guitar. That's all he does.
And PHiSH practices
on that thing. Yeah, all they do is practice. Like they just sit around. What do you think he did all quarantine? Like write songs and practice. That's all he does. So like he's a nerd like that. And I love it. I love it because
I love it too.
Hey,
that's amazing.
You know what?
They fucking like that.
They did the greatest thing that I really wish I would have been there last night. The one song was 5 Years. That's my favorite Bowie song. It made me fucking cry. That shit is fucking just too beautiful.
It did kind of kill the energy though.
It did kill the energy, but that song is
no, you're right.
It means something to me. It's
beautiful.
Like 13,
and if
14.
it went into something energetic, I feel like it would have been fine. But what came for the next 5 songs after it, or 4 songs, whatever,
we droned on because every song with a fucking number in it is a wah crying my beer song. Basically.
Well, and Kev, to that question though, how did you think they played it? Like, how did it sound to you? Because I don't think they've played it really since that Halloween show. And that Halloween show. That Halloween show was such a straightforward show when they did that album. Like they didn't, it was more of a tribute, like an homage album than anything. They didn't jam it out. They just played it straightforward. And everything was beautiful that night.
I wish I wish that song became like in a shade place or where they play when the circus comes to town. And they played it every 12, 13, 14 shows and kept their chops enough to get through it. I think it would fit perfectly, but last night it was forced. But I still am like, thank you guys.
I wish they executed it better, though. I think they could. I think we're being too generous for them. I think they could have executed both of them better.
Too generous. You guys.
I'm gonna bring somebody in. Our old pal, our close friend, the one and only world's greatest Chad wants to come in and chime in. I may cut him off after a few minutes.
Oh, sorry, I didn't have a mallet.
What did you dig that out of the trash?
Murder weapon.
Did you dig that gavel out of the trash?
Chad, you never have you have strong opinions all the fucking time, but recently you haven't had strong opinions where you're like, I want to share my opinions. And tonight you were like, I got opinions. You want me to talk about it? I'm like, you know what? If you have strong opinions, fuck yeah, let's see what you got. What do you think?
Well, shit, there's so much to, I don't know. Where do you want to start? So the first
anything before 5 years. I don't want to jump ahead yet, but anything before 5 years, you're free to go.
Okay, you don't want to jump ahead? Fine, I'll jump ahead.
6 was 9. 6 was 9. What do you think? You're a Hendrix guy.
Okay, well, one of you guys brought it up, and you said no quarter. How cool would it have been for no quarter to replace first tube in the backwards down the number line slot?
Well, they needed the 1 for first tube, right? Or did first tube not count?
They had
my sweet one.
And
yeah.
One,
so
right?
go quarter. Stick that in there, throw the math completely off. That's great.
All right, but the problem is first tube was the highlight of the second set, in my opinion. So I would have gotten rid of My Suit 1 or Army. Really? You don't think so?
You don't think so? What did you think?
I mean, 7 Below or first two, but
you know why first tube was so cool is because it was after all that slow shit. It was after
right. It was a fucking treacherous. It ripped and it went a little bit type 2, and
it didn't end. It took that jam out and still went into something else. Like it wasn't the closer, which was nice. Like you still got, even though, like, I mean, one of my.
I get it. But it wasn't an encore, right?
No, it was. They still did 0 after it.
No, it was at the end of the set. Fam hates me.
It was right before character 0. Fam doesn't hate you. Fam loves you.
I'm fucking with him about the
Chad, what do you think? I interrupted you. Let's go back to what you were saying.
What's the song after 5 years?
Let Chad have his opinion, Kev.
I'm gonna go back a little bit and just say that, like, I love when PHiSH does planned sets, when they write it fucking down, because they wrote this set down. They went backwards down the number line and wrote the set down, and I love that because I like when they do, think of like Dick's spelling sets, think of like the thank you set, the thank you encore, think of like that. It's like, it's because they're committed to what they're doing and they're stuck in it.
Wait, but it's counterpoint though, you end up with 5 years into 2 versions of Me, into NO2, Army of One, and it fucking destroys a set though. Any one of those, if they were a one-off in the middle of a raging set, would have been fire. But to have that run of songs is fucking brutal, in my opinion.
It didn't destroy it. It didn't just. I like that. Last night was like, I had to work at 7 a.m. this morning, and I stayed up for that whole show. It did not destroy it for me at all because I got what they were doing. I was like, oh, okay.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
No, I got what they were doing, and I was like, this is clever, and I want to be here for this, even though I can't be there for that. You know what I'm saying? Like, we have this incredible, beautiful gift of Couch Tour, and we get to watch this all live in real time when we can. And so it's like, all right, you guys are going there. Let's go there. I'm there with you.
I think if you're talking first, I think if you're talking first set, it worked out really conveniently and nicely because again, it raged and it fit the framework. But if you look at set 2 outside of the gimmick and just generically describe the songs, it is a poorly structured set.
You'd be like hard pass.
Hard pass.
You fell asleep. Then you weren't paying attention.
No,
I mean,
you got Sam. Sam's like, I see Sam.
All right, let's go around the horn then. Let's see what these guys think about this. I disagree with chat, but I want to see what you guys think. Fam, what do you think?
Come on.
Oh, I could. Okay. Number one, absolutely. Like, this 2 versions of me is phenomenal. And like, it's absolutely.
You know what I wrote down, fam? I'm going to give it back to you because I don't want to cut you off. But what I wrote down was high school garage band. I was in bands in high school that could have executed that 2 versions of me as well as they did last night.
Maybe that was the serious? Point. Maybe that was the point. Maybe they wanted to play it like that.
All right, let's go back to fam. I'm sorry.
Well, it's hard. I mean, now I don't know. Like, I just, for me, it's such a perfect. It's very emotional song for me. Like, I think it takes me back. I've gotten they've only played it 6 times or 7 times. And I've got 4 of them. You know, it was really in a time when I was touring 2 versions. I got the first 2 versions of me at the Gorge. It's a very important song for me as a ballad. And I truly enjoy it. And this is obviously the first time, too, where they've taken it out a little bit for a walk. And I really love how
did it go somewhere, fam? Did it go somewhere?
It absolutely
took it out for the walk.
That's what I'm going to absolutely tell you is that it did. And by the end, it's such a hopeful little fun jam. It's so not 2 versions of me, which that's what I love about it. It's 2 versions of me is very melancholy and very again, it's not the happiest of tunes. And then he very much by the 5th and a half minute, he's playing this completely new kind of uplifting melody that is so lovely. And I just think it just, again, it perfectly sits there. I don't know. I get it.
Can we make a note of the fact?
I don't agree, but I respect that.
Can we make a note of the fact that fam knew exactly when?
No.
We can't. And he had made a note of it to tell
us. We can't make a note of it because Lama went on vacation, and he's the only one of us that ever wrote anything fucking down.
Exactly.
But you know how disorganized we are without him?
Message fam exactly when that happened. Everybody in.
I agree. I agree with fam though, and I think that every song in the second set, took journeys. It was first tube went type 2, and you're
yes.
You know what I'm saying? We're getting to that. I understand that.
But no, but 7 Below and first tube, banging. Everything that happened in between, it's fucking boring.
They often call it shit.
Disagree.
My Sweet One is good every time they do it because it's so upbeat. You're you hop up, you're fuck yeah, and 2 minutes later it's an aerobic workout.
But even that one was not. I mean, that was again a Dead and Company version of it. It just did not get there for me. I was like, holy shit, man, this is My Sweet One 4.0.
Wow.
Good lord, man. I was thank God they didn't rip that Zero, which I'm not a big fan of Character Zero as it is, but at least it's a rock song that kind of gets you back into.
They nailed it. It wasn't great. They didn't do anything with it. It was a super, super standard Character Zero, but they nailed it and they climaxed it and there was no major flubs. Of course, and they would. I mean, it's not a hard song. It's a rock song.
They number-lined it, though, because then they could have number-lined Fucker Pants again. They did it this summer. They could have done it again.
Putting Numberline as the encore was the greatest part of it, because if they tried to put
Grind 2.
Grind 2 was rough, but it was cool because it finished the gimmick.
First of all, that was the most predictable encore ever.
Yeah.
Ever. Most predictable. They set it up. Second of all, they should have done no quarter.
We should. You want to bring Scott on? Scott,
Yeah,
if you're
bring
watching, I'm
Scott
giving you a
on.
2-minute
Come on,
warning.
Scott.
Your opinions tonight.
No, but I mean, for me, like that was I always love how funny Trey thinks he is, and I don't want to say that in like I'm not saying that in a bad way at all, but like he is cracking up through this backwards.
He cracks
number
himself
line.
up. He does.
He cracks
You
himself
gotta
up.
love.
And like he's just laughing away, and the only thing that makes me laugh, it's so daddy, you know, it's so dad-like to me. I don't want, well, I shouldn't probably call him daddy, but like it's.
Thank you, Daddy Trey.
Daddy,
Daddy
call
Trey,
him
but
Daddy.
it is like
Tell me
this
how
dad,
you really feel.
It's so
What?
dad joke because, like Chad said, it's so predictable, and everybody. I was sitting listening with Deanna, and I was like, "Here comes Numberline," and she's like, "You listen to them too much," and I'm like, "No, this is just an obvious. This is an obvious
the most
joke." You know?
obvious.
Anybody who reads the stats would see that. If
Yeah,
you
but
would
he's
read the
laughing.
stats,
But Trey,
you'd
the first 20 seconds of the song, he's dying laughing. He can't get the lyrics out, and I'm like, you made this joke, and you're laughing.
He loves it.
Yeah.
Well, that's the best
And
part
you know
about it.
what?
Is he loves his jokes so much. I mean, it's the same thing with the "Hello, how are you tonight?" Like, good.
I
Like, he just
love
kept
that
doing
he
and
loves
cracking
them,
himself
though.
up.
Oh, it's so
It's
cute.
almost-
I mean, it really is cute.
I love
It's
it. No,
almost
Fun
like
Trey
this-
is the best Trey. Even in Sacramento when they were fucking up and like going into Brother and like he just gives you that levity and that sense of like they're having fun. Like, you know what? Like we're out here judging them and being like, oh, they screwed that up and they're technically not this, and yet they're like, fucking, we don't give a shit, man. We're just having fun up
Fuck
here.
you
Like,
guys.
And that
whatever.
is Travis, that is exactly why I love that second set, and that's exactly why I love it when they write down the set list and play it. They're committed to it.
Because
and
it's
I'm
a
like,
bit and it's a gimmick and you love bits. Everybody knows this about you, Chad. You love
Yes.
bits. And I appreciate
I
that you
do.
love the bit. No, I love that about you. But if you're looking at it objectively from a show, rock concert, jam basis, the middle of the second set was a little sucky ballish.
Yeah, they did not, but they never do.
according to who?
You know,
According to
me.
according to anybody who's ever been to a rock show, you open up with a big rock song. You don't open up with an Undermined or something like
I
that.
love-
Fish is
I
like,
love that
"Oh,
the
then I am
last-
going to open up with Undermined." You know,
Sucky
that's not
ballish.
the way
Sucky
rock
ballish.
does it. You know, fucking what's his name? Who's that guy? Eric Clapton. He opens up with a big rock song, a badge or something, you know, and then goes into his whole.
I love
section.
that we brought this motherfucker on for the last 4
Waddy,
minutes.
what's up, Waddy?
He's gonna
He's about to drop some woody.
So
I
Speaking
can't even. All right.
Speaking
I
of
just have
sucky
to step
balls,
aside for the voting.
speaking of sucky
Uh,
balls,
but-
hey,
Hey.
Scott McKeeta's here.
Sucky balls.
right on cue,
Before-
sucky ballish.
figured that was my cue.
Hold on. Before
Love the beard. Your beard's looking so
right.
good. You've got it back.
Well, thanks,
You're
man.
working it.
It's getting there.
All right, drop some knowledge on us, Wody.
I really, I'm a little disappointed that you guys threw a lot of shade at the 6 to 9. To be honest with you, I think it's great that Fish did that, and I mean, I think T made a good point that maybe it needs to be a little bit more rehearsed or done a few more times so that they can get the hang of it. But I mean, to shit on the fact that they even did it.
no,
I
that
mean-
was
We were
these
not
idiots.
kidding. Nobody
No,
was at the
listen.
spot.
It was a good
No, I mean,
cover.
my
but a
ears
bad
are working
jam.
pretty well. There wasn't a lot of like, it was awesome, which
It was not awesome. It was not awesome. If you
awesome.
did
Well,
it, would have
awesome.
been more awesome, but it was not awesome.
I thought
no,
the
you
cover
guys
was
are
good,
fucked
but
in
the
head,
jam,
man.
the jam was rough though, Wody. Like it was a rough jam.
Again, it was the first time they've ever fucking played it.
Right. I'm not saying that they aren't a good band. I fucking love them. I'm
They
not
nailed
saying there's not a
Quadrophenia.
legitimate excuse. I'm just saying it wasn't a great jam. Like you're right. There is legitimate excuses why it blew.
I mean,
didn't
somebody
blow,
out
but-
there tiers things, and I would definitely put that jam around like a tier 3 or 4 with like a giant gap ahead of each.
Why
one
do
of
you got to
those
go to
other tiers
tears?
ahead of
Why
it.
do we got to do tears, man? That's
I
not
don't
true.
know.
Because we rank
Because
shit.
don't do
That's
that.
what we do. That's
It's
what
not
do that
good.
shit.
Fish fans do is rank shit.
This is the most
Right.
chaotic episode of the lot we've had since fucking Kev interrupted Tom Marshall when he was talking about my daughter.
You had to go there, really?
Yeah, I fucking had to go there.
That's
How often does Tom Marshall compliment you on your daughter, and you're like, Kev's just like, hey, let's talk about me.
He's hated me forever. He keeps me around because I look good. That's
Yo,
that might be the best thing the chat has
crazy.
said in a while. That is a great one right there. Tom, you win tonight.
I still don't know who Eve Six is.
You're not thinking about 5 years either? You guys are not happy with 5 years either?
I loved it.
Okay.
No, I did.
I loved it. I was all on board.
Kev, it's Wody. And
I swear to
Scott,
God.
here's the thing. If it were just 5 years, or if it was just Army of One, or just two versions of me, I would have been great with any of those versions that they played. The fact that they let the gimmick dictate a 5 years into two versions, into NO2, into Army of One.
Why do you hate love? Why do you hate love?
No, I just want fucking dance your balls off, raging fun fish, and a boatload of sap and slowness is a little bit boring in the second set. I'm sorry, it's not well placed.
They should have covered Metallica's one and fucking got everybody hyped instead.
That would have been a better choice. That would have been a great.
The Zero was good though.
That
I mean, I know Trav doesn't like that song, but I mean, it was a good.
No, but they nailed it. They had a good climax.
First tube was good. I mean, I just I guess there were some slowdown points come towards the end of that second set, and I can understand that, but I mean.
It's a lot to handle all at once in a row on a second set.
You're serotonin.
I liked it. I liked the cover, but the jam, dude.
It was so fire.
Listen to it. The jam was like, Fish kept throwing out some themes, and like Trey was half into it and like kind of pulling it in and receiving it, but was like, no, I'm gonna try something else. And it was awkward.
I love when they take risks and they do new shit, and it's
I agree.
He pulled it in. He was pulling it in. He was receiving it. It was
they can take risks, and I love it when they take risks. But not every risk works, and not every risk pans out perfectly. And that's
right.
That's what it's not supposed to.
Right.
But that's the risk you take. That's the risk you take.
Right. Yes, that's what they did, and it fucking failed. And I'm sorry.
I applaud them. I applaud them for it. I thought it was great. I
do too, but that doesn't change the fact that it fucking failed. You can't say if somebody fails that they did good because they took a good risk.
I can. And I'm going to ask you guys all this question. I'm going to ask you guys all this question.
I'm going to end this show.
Hold on. No, don't end the show.
Fine. I really want to. All right, let's go.
If that was your first Fish show, how would you walk away from it? Would you walk away going, "Oh, that second set was boring and slummy"?
Yeah,
or whatever.
I'd walk away looking for the guys who had 2 for 20 and not 1 for 40.
I would have been like the middle of the set. I was fucking bored out of my mind, but the end of it, the last 15, 20 minutes, they brought it back.
I don't think that's the correct answer on how you would have reacted if that was your first Fish show. Because somebody there last night, that was their first Fish show.
Yes, the ushers.
All right, so the truth is,
fine, fair enough, Kev.
The truth is I've loved every show I've been to, and I've never seen a bad show because anytime I'm there with them, I fucking enjoy it.
That Merriweather show that they did like Julie and all those slow songs. In the
fucking loved it. I've been to one bad show. Charleston Night 3 was a fucking abysmal heap of shit, and the band deserves to know that because it was a fucking abysmal performance. But aside from Charleston Night 3,
for being at Coventry, Sam and I were at Coventry.
All right, listen.
All right. But seriously though, I kept thinking about that last night. I'm like, because my first Fish show was 10/31/95. I didn't know jack shit about Quadrophenia. Fish blows out with horns, and Fish does.
You had to remind everybody.
Special. No, but hear me out.
But that didn't happen last night.
That wasn't last night.
That wasn't last night. If you walked out of last night's show and that was your first show, I'd be like, yeah.
There's a 50-50 chance you go to see Lady Gaga on Saturday and give up on Fish altogether.
You would go see Lady Gaga because you could walk away from Vegas saying, "I saw Fish."
I think Lady Gaga comes out tonight.
Let me say this. I think that the the joy that was brought by that entire show was keeping everyone engaged on guessing what's next.
I agree.
I mean, throughout every
I
single
agree.
song, it was like, oh, they're going to do Summer of 89 next, which they didn't do. Or they're going to do 515, which they didn't do. Or, you know what I mean? Like
every show, though? Don't you try to do that?
Yeah, but you knew you kind of had a better idea go with the theme, right? Because you were counting backwards. I mean, okay, there were no surprises at the encore was Numberline. I get that, but
still
I mean,
at that time, you're kind of hoping like, why not throw in a Stealing Time that they haven't played in a while? Like throw that in there.
Fucking
Jenny.
brilliant.
75309.
See, if they encore with Stealing Time, it would have been.
Right, that would have been the kicker. Instead of like trolling everybody with backwards down the number line, which everybody knows they wants to do, you come out and just throw that in there, and people are like, "Oh shit, I didn't see that one coming."
The next 2 shows would all be like going back in time, all old shit, and then the Halloween show would reprise with Stealing Time reprise to close the second set.
Listen, it's a good show. It was a good show. I don't think anybody here is saying it wasn't a good show.
Dude, it was a party. It was night one in Vegas. It was a fun party show, which is exactly what night one in Vegas always is.
Top
it was
10.
awesome.
Top
awesome.
10.
Top 10 of what?
10 ever?
Yep.
Really? Dude,
I just kicked Chad out. I'm like,
yeah, I didn't come in saying that. I just thought it was a good show.
All right, let's bring him back for a second. What do you got to say? No, fuck that shit. That was a terrible take. I'm not bringing him back for that. You can't drop a take like that and expect to stay on Wook Plus. Oh no, it's fine. Let's bring him back. It's fine.
Yeah, isn't that what Twitter is though? Isn't that basically Twitter? I mean, it's not just us.
Careful.
Be
very careful. Be very.
God, I've never dropped somebody from this show for a take, but Jesus Christ, Chad.
You don't think that? Okay.
I'm sorry.
I like the bit
that
now.
show last night wasn't even like a top 10 Vegas show. Like that.
What was that? What was that number? What was that number?
About that.
Oh, what?
No,
it was top. That show was a top.
It was a top 25. It was a top 25 Vegas show.
It was a top 10 of all 21.
42. Well, 42 Vegas shows total. I think I counted. I thought it was
top 40. It was a top 40.
I don't know why this keeps happening. I really got to get controls over this. Oh God! All right, you know what?
What does it all mean?
We're past the hour.
Scott, get a little more comfortable though, buddy. You look a little stressed out over there. Really lay down for this show and get comfy.
I'm in the zone, man. I'm in the zone.
I love it.
I can't believe this motherfucker brings his murder weapon to the show.
It is not a murder weapon.
Alleged.
What? We're having technical difficulties, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh God!
Hey, Tim, do you have like a PSA or anything?
Yeah. Let me do. Wait. Let me do my bit. Let me do this. We got to do this. Should I bring Chad back? Do you think he'll be quiet if I bring him back, or is he just gonna keep talking?
Bring him back.
No, you're right. That's a terrible idea. All right. So if you're new to the channel, please like and subscribe. Like the video, subscribe to the channel. If you're watching us on Facebook or Twitter, go over and check us out on YouTube. We have a great library of content. We've been doing this shit.
If you're watching us on Meta.
All right, man. Chill out, Cat. Just chill out. No, please like and subscribe. It means a lot to us. We'll be back here before every show for this run and every PHiSH show for the foreseeable future. We have our live show every Wednesday night. Please check that out. Yes, and for that lovely setup that you gave me, Kev, we do in fact have a PSA to end the show because it seems like an appropriate way to get the fuck out of here. I'll see you guys tomorrow.
Everybody. Enjoy tonight's show.
All right.
Later, y'all.
Vegas.
You guys.
Be in Vegas.
I'm the Salt and the Slogans, Kevin Hogan here with Hogan Slogans, and we're bringing you a PSA today. Remember, you can wear a mask and still shake that ass. We got boxes of slogans.
If you need a slogan, you need it right now. Come on down to Hogan Slogans. We're open.